Good evening and thanks for coming. I read a message directly from the President, Mr. Francesco Becchetti. So the President isn't here today because of work commitments, but the President is always close to the squad, and the priority is always the promotion to League One. This is our target. Okay,
yeah, of course, yeah.
He saw yesterday the first training. He was at the first training ground, and he's very excited about the appointment. And the President will speak at the provided time, but it's very, very excited about appointment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
exactly.
you.
Gary.
How are you, mate? You okay?
Have trouble finding it?
No, there was a bit of a crash on the just coming off the A406 there, so sorry for being late.
Right, no
Sorry.
problem. So why did you decide that the time was right to give management a go?
Well, I think when I got the call on Monday about it, I mean, obviously being training with the lads and being around the club, knowing being around the area for such a long time too, knowing how big this club is, you know, and being in League Two, it was a challenge which I think that in the end, when I was discussing it with family and things, I don't think I could like sort of turn away from. I've had such a career at the top level. You know, I've had 3 promotions with the 3 teams when I've been playing and as a captain, and I had a good number of offers and from clubs abroad and things which weren't really concrete, but we didn't really get going. But this sort of, it just gave me that little bit of a buzz. What I thought, yeah, I fancy a bit of that, and yeah, I'm just glad that I've made the step in this direction. But I'm still going to be playing, and I'm really looking forward to trying to manage that. And I think obviously we have Andy Essenthaler here who's done it at Gillingham before, so he's a big positive to have, just to see how he done it and learn from what he would call his mistakes, and learn from how he handled it all. So and yeah, I just it's something I'm really excited about, and something I'm really looking forward to, and something that I'm really going to put every little ounce of effort I've got in to make sure that I'm a success.
Player managing, something that used to happen more often than it happens now, it doesn't seem to happen these days. Why do you think that is? Do you think it's because it's been proven not to work, and do you not have something to prove in that way?
Well, I don't know if it does. To be honest, I'm not a big media fan and all that, in the fact that I'm not on social media and things like that. So whatever's been going on and whatever people have come up with stats and things like that, that's not me to be looking at it and thinking, well, if that player manager didn't do it, then I'm going to fail automatically. It's not. I'm a driven person. I'm very committed to what I've done. I've worked my socks off to have the career that I have. I think the lads who we've got here know how I go about training and what I am about. So I think when they did come in on the other day, they knew exactly what they were getting, and I think with me, I don't see it as a negative that I am a player as well as a manager. I see it as a positive, because how many managers, I've spoken to Sam, this week, and he said, there's one thing what you can't do when you're just a manager, is you can't go over that white line. Now I've got an opportunity that I am allowed to go over that white line, when I am fit and when I am ready and ready to go. So I can affect something which is on the pitch and be there to amongst our players and amongst my players, and make sure that I can try and make a difference on the pitch as well as off the pitch.
You mentioned Sam there. He's obviously a manager you've played a lot with, a lot for. What did he say to you about the prospect of this job, and will he be a manager that you look to on the training pitch, the way you put a team together?
Well, look, I've got to be honest. I'm not going to say no, but it's not everything what he done I totally agree with 100%, you know, and I think if you spoke to him, we had a great, fantastic working relationship as a manager and me as a skipper. And we were very successful within that period. So yeah, I will be taking a lot from him, but you know, I've worked under Alan Pardew for a good few months. I've worked under Chris Hughton, you know, successful managers in the game. You know, Slaven Bilic, who's took the Premier League by storm with West Ham and what he's done this year. You know, seeing him and working close with him over the first couple of months he was in, and seeing how he prepared his team, how he prepared for a season coming up. I've got, you know, 15 years experience of now, you know, of what it takes to hopefully be successful. And I'm quite confident that I can be a successful manager and have a good as career in management as I have in playing. But as I say, I've got a 2.5-year contract as playing as well as managing this club, and I certainly hope it's not going to just be for 2.5 years. I hope it's going to be for a bit longer than that, and we're going to be, you know, we're aiming high, but there's no doubt about it. The reason why, you know, you know, I was gutted more than anyone that Ian lost his job was because they hadn't won in, you know, so many games and they were slipping down the table. And I've come in and as you've just heard before, it's about getting into them playoffs and trying to push, to get us back up into League One, and then, you know, who knows, we're then hopefully going to push on to try and get into the Championship, because as you can see, the facilities, everything about the club, you know, it's got everything. So, but you know, it's baby steps first, and then we'll get into the strides hopefully in a year or two or 3. But I'm looking forward to this challenge.
Absolutely none of my business, but I'm nosy, so I'll ask. What did Sam say to you about that?
Nothing. Listen, obviously his first job was at Limerick, wasn't he? And he was player manager there, so he said that was one thing he enjoyed about it. You know, being on the pitch and being amongst the lads, and that, you know, the last 2 days I have trained with the boys, because you know, it's been and it has been a long 48 hours with, you know, not much sleep and a lot of phone calls about players, about, you know, talking to agents, you know, talking to all the boys who helped me here, you know, all the lads, and you know, because Francesco's got a great support system who you know, look after every need, what you do need, you know, and so having a good relationship with them, that's about me building that rapport with them and getting relationships with them to make sure that we get the right people in this club now, and everything starts moving forward and everything's positive.
You mentioned Francesco there, the owner, chairman. He's a character, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a fantastic character. I mean, obviously I met him in his house earlier today, and he's very, you know, but he's and there's one thing about him, he's very passionate, you know, and he's passionate about making sure that this club gets back where he feels it belongs, and he wants to be in League One at least, and pushing to get it back into Championship level. So yeah, I mean, he makes no air or graces. He wants success, and look, he spends an awful lot of money by doing that. So yeah, but I'm one who likes to take on a challenge, and one who, you know, hopefully will thrive on it, and one who hopefully will give him that success, and we can have a good relationship over the next 2.5 years.
You don't mind your kick up the bum, actually, or metaphorically?
No, hey, cheeky. Listen, look, what I've seen of Francesco, he's been fantastic, and he's let me get on with the job I need to do. Every player that we've mentioned or what, he's tried to get me in, and he's tried to help me as much as we possibly can over the last 48 hours, because it has been hectic trying to get players in, because we know, and I want a squad where I can, you know, I've got headaches every day in training, and I'm looking forward to the next game, because I want, you know, as they say, and he's backing me 100%, and I'm going to give him 110% to make sure that, you know, I get the results on the pitch first and foremost, and then we start to make progress in up the league, and hopefully, you know, get out this league.
And just finally from me on that, you spoke about what you've seen on the training pitch and what you might need. Can you be more specific about the areas you're looking at?
No. No. Obviously, look, we've got a talented squad, and I've spoke to the boys, and I think, you know, they all agree that, you know, they feel that they are in a bad position for the quality of squad we have got, but now it's time for them to, you know, to sort of stand up and be counted, because with the backing I'm receiving from Francesco, then I'm going to be bringing players in to make sure that we have, hopefully, you know, people who in each position to challenge for places, because that's, you know, any manager, that's all they want. And as a player, you know, to keep you on your toes. If you haven't got anyone who's behind you, who's snapping at your heels, you're going out very comfortable on Saturday afternoon. I don't want that. I want my lads to be making sure that they're right on it, and hopefully, you know, in the next week, that's where we'll be pressing to make sure that they are on it. They seem to be on it at the moment. The last 2 days have been fantastic in training. They've all been great. So I'm really looking forward to tomorrow and looking forward to the experience.